Good day to all. Thank you for taking the time to join us to remember September 11, 2001, and to remember the price the United States of America paid for our continued freedom. My name is Command Sergeant Major CRISTINA Wilson, and I am honored to serve as the Masters of Ceremony for this time of remembrance. Now please rise as the color guard presents the colors, and please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
If I can please have Gaston Jr., Tomas, and Lily Patino come front.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order! Call!
Now for our invocations, I call on Elaine Clinton.
Closer, march!
Good morning. Please pray with me in your faith as I pray in mine. Dear Lord, join us as we honor our firefighters, police officers, EMS, and military who have dedicated their lives to protect our freedoms and liberties. We celebrate those serving day today for those who lost their lives, including the precious loss of civilian life during the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack on American soil. Patriot Day is also known as the Day of Service and Remembrance, and this is exactly what we do. We honor the memories of those taken from us each year. We thank our nation's service members who still fight the war of terrorism. Join us today with special activities, including remembrance services. Keep us in mind of your strength and your love when we need it most. And I'd like to add a moment of silence for Queen Elizabeth. Amen.
Thank you, Elaine, for those remarks. You may take your seats. At this time, I am proud to introduce our representative to our mayor, City of McAllen, Mayor Javier Villalobos, who will be doing our welcoming remarks. I welcome you all, Commissioner Sebi Haddad.
Good morning, and thank you all so much for being here, for being a part of the ceremony as we remember the tragic events of 21 years ago, September 11th, 2001. It is a day that we will never forget. For many of us, it was the first ever experience of a terrorist attack on U.S. soil. It was unthinkable, and yet the images, the sounds, we saw it unfold in real time with our hearts in our throat, tears in our eyes, disbelief in our heart, and fear in our bodies. A fear we had not yet experienced or could comprehend. How could this have happened to the United States of America here in our country? Terror attacks were something that happened somewhere else, sometimes in other countries, to other people. 9/11 suddenly made the world a very small place. In the 21 years since that fateful day, our country has changed. Some of those changes were necessary to ensure our safety and that such an attack would not happen again. Other changes have made us more tolerant and aware of our surroundings and of anything suspicious. But one thing that has not changed, that will never change, is our love for this country and the proud and brave Americans who will stand up to defend her. I am proud to be here for today's 9/11 ceremony with our McAllen veterans, those who answered the call to serve together. We remember that today. We remember that day, that September 11th, all those years ago. God bless all the victims of those terrorist attacks, and most especially those families who were left behind and continue to mourn. God bless the United States of America, always. God bless Texas, and God bless McAllen. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for those remarks. Next, I would like to call on Jan Hartzig. She will be introducing all our distinguished guests for today.
Good morning. How is everybody today? Thank you all for coming. It's a sad day, and I just feel we really need to always remember this day. And I know everyone who is of an age to remember that day and understand what went on. will never forget where they were, what they were doing when they heard of the attack. I want to start out because people have been asking about our beloved Colonel Plummer, and I spoke to his wife yesterday. He is at the DHR rehab hospital. So let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers. Do we have any Iraqi, Afghanistan veterans here today, besides Christina? Okay, thank you very much. And how many just veterans do we have? Thank you for your service from the bottom of my heart. I also want to talk about our fire department, our police department, our first responders, Border Patrol. We owe them so much gratitude. Words can't even describe the gratitude that we owe to all of these people, but thank you for your service. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. We don't have too many guests here today, so it'll be brief. I also want to thank the city of McAllen for helping us put these programs on, because we could not do it without their help. And they were out here yesterday landscaping and fixing some broken flagpoles, and we so appreciate everything they do for us, because we could not manage without them. I would like to recognize Sevi Haddad, who just spoke, and we have Rudy Castillo, who is from, he's the commissioner from District 4, which is this district. And I see some members of the American Legion and the VFW. And I'm not sure if she was able to make it. Is Michelle Vallejo here? Okay. She is a Democrat congressional candidate, and we welcome her here this morning to share in our program. And is this anyone's first time at the memorial? Okay. I strongly suggest, if you have the time, either today or sometime, it's very nice late in the evening, to just wander around and take in this memorial, because it is truly breathtaking. I've been involved for 17 or 18 years now, and it still just leaves me with a sense of awe every time I'm out here. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Jen. Next, I am honored to introduce our keynote speakers. Today, for this program, because of our event, we have two keynote speakers. The first keynote speaker that I would like to introduce is our very own McAllen Chief of Police, Victor Rodriguez.
Good morning, everyone. To our commissioners and to all our guests, on behalf of the city of McAllen and on behalf of the McAllen Police Department, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. It seems like yesterday. Such is the situation when we're at an event like this and you see an aircraft flying over there, that it just kind of, that wound that we suffered that day opens up again, and again slowly begins the rehealing process. It seems like yesterday, but the reality is that we've got a group of people here today who were not around on the day that it happened. And that serves to remind us how quickly we are moving through this time frame of time and how important it is that we stand by what we said on 9/11, is that we would never, ever forget. In our short history, we've experienced, and I say our short history, our short U.S. history, we've experienced attacks on our country. At one attack, we told the world that a sleeping giant had been awoken. In looking at 9/11, on one scale of comparison, the attacks of 9/11 took more lives than the attacks at Pearl Harbor. That is just the reason we were so heartbroken on 9/11. After that attack, and it's been the case in our history, American men and women rose in response. They left their homes for the battlefront. They said goodbye to their families, and many did so for the last time. They stood up to be counted, and they went to fight to preserve the land that we stand on today, to preserve the rights that we exercise today, the rights to assemble, the rights to speak, the rights to be here today. They became soldiers. They became armies of men and women. September 11th, 2001 reminded us once again that the life that we so dearly enjoy cannot be taken for granted, that the threats to our United States of America are forever lurking. They are constantly present. On September 11, 2001, war was declared on us again. Civilians were killed by the thousands. Innocent men and women were killed by the thousands. That act of terror served as a call for Americans to again rise and go fight. Our mighty military went to work. And today we know that they succeeded to kill the leader of the 9/11 attacks. I know there are some of you here today whom we call veterans. You were soldiers, you were men and women that served. And what I would like to tell you today is that every day, especially on days like today, we are so thankful for your service. We're so thankful for the bravery and your perseverance and your unselfish service to this country, to your families, and to every American citizen. Colonel Plummer, may he recover soon, asked me to speak about what all this meant to domestic law enforcement. You know, one of the things that Commissioner Haddad said a little while ago is we realized how small the world was. Well, it's even smaller when we look at it through the lenses of law enforcement. Our domestic law enforcement authorities realize that the world is so much smaller than we realized. We have realized since then, and we realize today, and we know this today, that what we thought impossible before 9/11 is not only possible, but it's quite clearly achievable, very realistic, and very possible in today's environment. We would have never thought that planes could fly into buildings. We know now that that's not only possible, but very much so the case, and worse. We have learned that the goals of terrorism are mass casualties. They want to inflict economic damage. They want to inflict psychological damage, and they want credit for doing so at each and every turn. We have learned to make our world smaller. Today, federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies work closer than ever. Closer than ever. Domestic law enforcement has learned to adapt, and now we look at our communities. We look at our communities through what we call the terrorism lenses in just about everything that we do. We used to look at it through just our public service lenses. Now we've got to look at that world through the terrorism lenses, realizing that what we thought impossible today is very, very possible. Rest assured that domestic law enforcement, like our mighty military, that we strive every day to protect our communities from threats, foreign and domestic. We are strong because the American spirit is woven into every fiber of our being. The American spirit grows stronger with every challenge. The American spirit is red, it is white, it is blue, it is stars, and it is stripes. That's why we are strong. And nothing awakens that spirit more so than an attack in our communities. May God bless all of you here today, and may God bless the USA. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for those remarks. Our next keynote speaker could not be here for the Fire Department Chief, James Schultz. However, his representative, Chief Gloria, will speak on his behalf. So please welcome Chief Gloria.
Good morning, everybody. City officials, distinguished guests. On behalf of my beloved McAllen Fire Department, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. What a beautiful day today. 21 years ago, the morning of September 11 began as a beautiful day with clear skies, pretty much just like today. Along with my fellow firefighters, I was just beginning to settle in for my 24-hour tour of duty. Little did I know that shortly after 9:30 in the morning, thousands of innocent people, including hundreds of first responders, would find themselves in a fight for their lives. In the subsequent hours, indeed, thousands of people perished in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania, where the passengers of Flight 93 courageously attempted to retake control of their plane from their hijackers, unfortunately crashing in the process. We remember them not for their tragic death, but we remember them for what they believed on and for what their inspiring actions represent. They were mothers, fathers, husbands and wives, sons and daughters. They were all contributors to society, irreplaceable to their families and to their friends. The empty space they leave can never be filled by any words I or anyone else will ever say. Members of our military, law enforcement officers, firefighters and paramedics, we have a duty to honor them and to remember them, not just on an annual basis, but every day, through our actions, through our commitment to our trade, and more important of all, our commitment to our country. Members of our military service are always standing guard to protect our nation. On that day, terror and fear attempted to disrupt the very core of what our nation is all about. However, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of by which name they call God, our heroes of September 11, 2001 united, and they demonstrated that the foundation of our nation, of our very beloved democratic nation, is stronger and more powerful than those of evil. Freedom of speech, the right to vote, and even the right to assemble peacefully in protest. Those rights have been paid for by those who perished. Their actions will forever be remembered. Their actions will forever be their legacy. Prove that in our nation, we are all about hard work, dedication, perseverance, care for each other, and love of country. Our military service further proved and reinforced those values by their daily and infinite effort to protect and defend our nation. In closing, for those directly and indirectly affected by this horrible event, I want to tell you that their sacrifice was not in vain. And it is for that reason that we're here today in this beautiful piece of the world called McAllen. We gather as a community, we gather as a nation to fulfill our commitment to do what we said we would do, to never forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for those kind words. Next, we have a special music played by our very own McAllen Memorial Band. So now we come to that portion of our service, ringing of the bell commemorating Patriot Day on September 11th, 2022, followed by a minute of silence. If I may ask the Chief of Police, the Chief of Fire, and Jacob Patino to come up by the bell. As they get placed by the bell, let me give you a little history. The 9/11 attack killed 2,977 people and injured thousands. In remembrance of the victims of the tragedy of 9/11, fire department, law enforcement, and civilians alike who were lost at the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the crash site at Sharksville, Pennsylvania. This ceremony will help all of us to remember the sacrifices, those who died on September 11th. We must also remember those who continue to give of themselves daily while fighting for our freedom. To honor the September 11th anniversary, it is a tradition to honor firemen and others who have died in their profession. 3 sets of 3 chimes will be rung. The bells will be rung, the first set of bells will be rung to honor those that died at the World Trade Center, the South and North Tower, and the policemen among many killed while trying to save those who were trapped in the falling building. The second set will be rung in honor for those that died at the Pentagon and all the firemen killed in the line of duty. The last set will be rung for those that died at Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and all the civilians killed that day. Now for a moment of silence. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as the McAllen Honor Guard fires a salute volley. As the last shot rings out, the mournful sound of taps will be played in a fitting final tribute to those we remember this day. Thank you, gentlemen. Chief, y'all can go pass over to the area. Please stay remaining standing as I call Lane Clinton to lead us on the benediction. Lane?
Please pray with me in your faith as I pray in mine. On this hallowed day we remember. We remember those who are no longer present with us, but remain forever present in our hearts and who live in our memories. We embrace those sorrows whose sorrows are immeasurable. We have no cure for sorrow, only comforting love for those who are closest to us. We honor those in uniform who continue courageously to run toward danger on our behalf. May we all be worthy of their courage and sacrifice. And we ask our civic leaders to always guide us in ways that are prominent, that promote peace over war, tolerance over intolerance, reason over blind passion, and love over hate. May all here find blessings in their lives, hope in their days, and comfort in their nights. Let us go now in peace. Amen.
Thank you, Lane. You may now take your seats. Once again, thank you for coming to today's ceremony. Your presence sends a message to all that we will remember September 11, 2001. Just as we remember Pearl Harbor and the only other attack on American soil. Never forget, always in our hearts, and God bless. And yes, we will remember. This concludes our ceremony, and thank you for celebrating with us.